At Munich's airport, a dozen Nigerian nationals are taken to a chartered plane for deportation. 5 people on the passenger list are missing. They may have gone into hiding. 12 migrants board the aircraft, accompanied by 3 times as many police officers. Officer Christian Kugelmeier has been on many such deportation flights. He says repatriation amounts to a personal crisis for migrants. Many are desperate. Some even injure themselves at the last minute to try and avoid deportation.
There are always some I worry about. I wonder how things are going to work out for them. But then I figure, if we're sitting in the plane with them, then a proper legal process has been carried out.
Samba, who's from Senegal, could be deported next. He has lived in and around Munich for 5 years. His asylum application was turned down. He knows the rules for deportation are getting stricter and a lengthy detention is possible.
It's a fear for all of us, definitely, because we are not safe. We are not safe. But through what we think and the little ears we have in Germany, I think if someone don't have police problem, he don't fight. So I think it's good also to consider those people.
Samba gets support from an NGO in Munich, a refugee council that helps him when he deals with officials and needs legal advice. The Refugee Council is critical of the new deportation regulations.
People are being completely deprived of their rights. Not only that those who fled here are being dehumanized because this is no longer a matter of an individual's fate, whether families are split up or whether a person is sick. This is a matter of carrying out deportations for the sake of raising the statistics.
Authorities see things differently. Those in detention at this temporary facility at Munich Airport are legally required to be deported. Every case has been reviewed by a judge.
People who have committed offences have priority on deportation flights, those who endanger public order and safety. So delinquents and people considered a threat are dealt with first, then comes everyone else.
It's not only criminals who are detained. In the worst cases, people who have committed minor violations, such as signing a document too late, could also be deported. That sometimes makes officers like Christian Kugelmeier think twice, even if they trust the system. Kugelmeier thinks abuse of officials who accompany deportees, such as spitting and biting, is on the rise. And witnessing deportees inflicting injury on themselves is stressful.
I try to avoid letting it get to me. I think he doesn't mean me personally. He probably sees police officers on the flight as representatives of the German state, and he holds them in contempt because he has to leave the country. That's how I distance myself from the situation.
The migrants from Nigeria have long since landed back home. For the time being, they may not return to Germany. Their dream is over.
Our political correspondent Maximiliane Koschek is with us in the studio this morning. Maximiliane, tell us more about these changes to Germany's deportation law and why these changes were considered necessary.
Well, these new immigration laws in Germany have been a long time in the making. It took Germany and the German government a long time to register and to realize that Germany has in fact become a migration country. And one of the biggest impacts of that was, of course, the 2015 migration crisis, when we saw a big increase in asylum seekers here in Germany. And these new laws are to aim at both the challenges of the rise of asylum seekers here in Germany, but also at the general challenges of being a new migration country. And yes, one of those laws is, of course, aimed at speeding up the process for those who cannot stay in Germany, who are being detained and have to be deported again, and to handle that process more efficiently.
So how many people are going to be affected by these laws with respect to deportation deportation. I presume it's affecting failed asylum seekers, but probably others as well.
Well, this law, or one part of this law, it's actually 7 laws, and this one specific one we've seen in the report is aiming at those who are in fact to be deported. We've seen in the last year 25,000 deportations, but another 31,000 deportations couldn't be processed because the person could either not be found, there were unresolved identity issues or missing travel documents. And now this new law tries to tighten the rules on these procedures and in fact even detain these people sooner and longer and potentially even put them in regular prisons. This is something that has especially gained a lot of criticism from opposition and refugee rights activists.
So there are a number of new laws, as you were saying. The report focused on one regarding deportations. What about the migrants who are allowed to stay in Germany, whose applications for asylum are still being processed or that have been approved? Is anything changing for them?
Well, yes, because, as again said, Germany is coming to terms with the fact that it's becoming more and more migration country and also tries to become more welcoming to those who are really keen to stay. And so one part of these new laws is also trying to aim at those who are seeking a job. They'll be able to get sooner into German integration courses, language courses, for example. And there's also an improvement on those coming from outside of the European Union to seek a job and already qualified workers. So qualified workers is something Germany is desperately needing. And those who are qualified workers seeking a job here in Germany but are not from the European Union can do that now with the new laws as well.
Maximiliane, thank you so much. DW political correspondent Maximiliane Koschek.